Hello, fellow time travelers. This is Tony Whitt of the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, and you are listening to the 100th episode of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. Congratulations, Larry, and here's to the next 100.
Hello, this is Nathan Laws of the 42 Cast and Time Streams. I'd like to wish Larry and the Doctor Who Collectors podcast a happy 100 episodes. That is an amazing milestone. I'm really glad that you've hit the big 100, Larry, and I cannot wait for the next 100 to come along.
This is Brandon Peters from The Brandon Peters Show, wanting to wish Larry and the Doctor Who Collectors podcast a happy 100 episodes. Larry, congratulations. That is no small feat. That's a lot of work, scheduling, editing, recording, producing, social media-ing, and more. Importantly, it took 100 episodes of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast to uncover us some missing episodes. May it not take 100 more to uncover more missing episodes, but I'm hoping Larry's show goes for thousands of episodes. Congrats, Larry. Hello to the listeners of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. You've been fortunate enough to get 100 wonderful episodes and hopefully continuing to get more.
Hey, Larry. Congratulations on your 100th episode of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. Love the show. Love you. Here's to at least another 100 more. Congratulations once again, and keep on hooing.
Hello, this is Tim Trelaw, Big Finish's third Doctor. I'd just like to congratulate Larry and the Doctor Who Collectors podcast on an amazing 100 episodes. That's fantastic, a century. Here's to the next 100. Congratulations.
Larry, congratulations on 100 episodes from the Braxiatel Collection Facebook group. To borrow a catchphrase, keep collecting.
Hello, hi, Larry VanMersbergen, well, you know who you are anyway. It's me, Fraser. Fraser, how are you? You're just telling me that the podcast, the Doctor Who podcast, is 100 years old today. Well, you don't look it. So, what? Oh, sorry, it's 100 episodes long. Oh, never mind. Well, anyway, well done. And you use Who's Doctor Who. Yeah, when it came out, all my disc jockey friends preferred the B-side, which is Punch and Judy Man, which is a pity because Who's Doctor Who should have been a big hit. But anyway, thanks for playing it, and I'll probably see you in Chicago. Cheers, mate. Bye.
This is Lee and William Thompson, owners of the world's largest Doctor Who memorabilia collection. And we wanted to congratulate you, Larry, on 100 episodes of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. From our start in collecting to getting the Guinness World Record, it's been a privilege to share it with you and your listeners. We look forward to another 100 episodes and seeing you at the conventions.
Hello, Larry. Lauren Cornelius here, who plays Dodo Chaplet, companion to the First Doctor. Just wanted to stop by to wish you happy 100 episodes of the Doctor Who Collectors podcast. How incredible. 100 eps. Blimey. Super awesome. And thank you so much for having me on the show. What an honour and a privilege to be a part of the show, to play Dodo Chaplet, to be in this community, to come to amazing conventions and meet everyone and just be a part of this world. It's just super awesome and I feel very welcomed and very at home. I love learning about everything every day. I'm always learning something new about this wonderful world. So yeah, I hope to catch you all soon, and it would be awesome to come back on the show again sometime soon. But happy 100 episodes, super well deserved. Keep going, you're a legend. And yeah, big love. Speak soon. Bye.
I'm Peter Purvis. Hello, Larry. It really is my pleasure to say congratulations on the 100th episode of your Doctor Who Collectors podcast. I'm nowhere near, I've only done about 18 podcasts so far. More to come, and I know that we are good friends, having met in Chicago, I believe it was, some time ago, and I also came on your podcast. Well, it was a pleasure then, and it's a pleasure now to congratulate you. And thank you, by the way, for being a Patreon to me. I'm so happy to talk to you, always. Make yourself known next time we get the chance to meet, because my memory ain't as good as it was. But bless you, my friend. Take very good care. Happy 100th episode.
They all say, who is Doctor Who? Where is he from? What does he do? They wonder who is Doctor Who? So I ask you, who's Doctor Who?
And welcome back to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. This is the podcast that explores the world of Doctor Who, including Doctor Who collecting and much more. Brought to you in part by Forbidden Planet and Bags Unlimited Incorporated. Thank you so much. I'm Larry VanMersbergen, your host. I've been a Doctor Who collector since 1981, coming up on 45 years here. So lots of experience to draw on and continuing to share my experience with the Doctor Who world. Welcome to the 100th episode, our special episode commemorating 100 episodes of this program. I want to thank everyone who sent messages and videos to help me celebrate, and so I want to acknowledge them in order of appearance at the beginning of this show. Tony Witt, the host and producer of the Target Book Club podcast, my dear friend. Also Nathan Laws, also another good friend, hosting Time Streams and the 42 Cast. My good friend Brandon Peters of the Brandon Peters Show. Also, I've worked with him on some of the documentaries that I've been in and some of the things involved with Doctoberfest and things like that. Eluides Pagan, he's been on the show before. He's also a dear friend, someone I've worked with before. Tim Traylor, he plays the third Doctor for Big Finish. He and I became friends after he appeared on my podcast and we met in Chicago. Great guy. And from the Braxiatel Collection on Facebook, which is the definitive group for Doctor Who collectors. I've been recognized by them several times. So it's always nice to get a nice message from the folks there. Also, my friend Fraser Hines. Fraser is a great guy. Getting his endorsement is always helpful, especially since we use the theme song, Who's Doctor Who? We have Fraser's permission to do that. Apparently he has the rights to do that. The rights from the composers were given up a long time ago. From William and Lee Thompson, the current Guinness Book of World Records record holder for the largest Doctor Who collection in the world. My friend Lauren Cornelius, who plays Dodo Chaplet on Big Finish, but she's also been on television, Call the Midwife and other things too. So great friend. And finally, Peter Purvis, a Doctor Who legend, companion of the first Doctor. He's 86 this year. He has his own podcast out there, the Peter Purvis podcast. He was a guest on my show a while back, and we continue to be good friends. And he even says so in his intro, which I didn't write the script for that, so always nice. And not to mention the numerous emails and messages and congratulations from many people. So what a wonderful way to start off 100 episodes. So lots, of course, it's taken me a long time to get this episode out because of a couple things. First of all, I changed jobs in my personal life. So I've been, wrapping up one and getting ready for another one. I've also been walking in a boot for the last couple weeks. Of course, with getting older, I tore a ligament in my heel. I don't know how I did it. I certainly wasn't jumping off roofs or anything. So, I'm still kind of getting me around was a little bit difficult. But there we go. Anyway, moving forward here, let's see. Y'all know the story. This all started back in 1984 when I joined the Many Companions of Doctor Who after starting a small company called Bundles from Britain. And that's kind of where things started. The most important thing with that meeting was I set up my table at a Doctor Who fan club, the Many Companions, in Kelvin Park, Chicago. I made some sales. It was great. I had Doctor Who magazines. I had some toys. I had some other stuff that I had imported from England. And at the end of the meeting, one of the guys that was helping me load the car stopped me and said, "I think you've got something here. I think we need to talk more." And that person was Gene Smith. And of course, he is the CEO of Alien Entertainment, which produces Chicago TARDIS. So, you know, it's he and I becoming partners was a big part of how this started. And I continued to collect long after I left Bundles from Britain. Sorry, I needed a drink there. And anyway, that's kind of what happened there. So Bundles from Britain, of course, lasted just a couple years, but it ended up in Red, White, and Who, which kind of made it an important part of Doctor Who history in America. So there we go. Of course, we are part of the Direction Point Doctor Who podcast, of which I'm proud to be its chief officer. Of course, growth takes time, and we're hopefully more podcasts will join on to the network, and we can help each other reach bigger audiences. So there you go. So join us. You know, you can join the network and be part of some great podcasts out there. I've mentioned Time Streams, the Doctor Who Target Book Club, Police Box in a Junkyard, the Traveling the Vortex, Doctor Who Literature, and many more. Time Ram. I always wanted to say that on the program. Anyway, and of course, every episode I include these two links you need for being an organized Doctor Who collector. Timelash.com, and under that you select the TARDIS library, keep track of your books, your videotapes, your records, your cassettes, your singles, your audio dramas. Great place to do that. Also, you need Doctor Who, the Doctor Who Toy Box. That's Howe's Transcendental Toy Box, my good friend David J. Howe, at drwhotoybox.co.uk. So there we go. Of course, as I just mentioned in my opening remarks, if you are looking for great Doctor Who items, you need to go to drwhostore.com. It just makes sense, because that's the name of the shop. And then, of course, that's my friend Gene Smith at Alien Entertainment. So there we go. Don't forget, at our website, drwhocollectors.com, we've got an amazing eBay store. A lot of the extra books that we have are for sale there. And we also have links to our affiliate program with Forbidden Planet, one of our sponsors. So we do make money from that, although you don't pay a different price. You just check out at Forbidden Planet, you select the item on our shop, and you go there. Please let me know if any items are out of print or out of stock, and I'll take them down immediately. So there we go. Of course, Who North America in Canby, Indiana. Keith and Jenny, of course, they've had their shop for a number of years, and make sure you visit them at whona.com. WHONA.com. And don't forget our friends in London. Good old Alex at thewhoshop.com. Owen, I believe, is a listener, so thanks you so much for listening. So I appreciate all of the folks who listen here. So, of course, on our website, in addition to all the podcasts posted, we have the complete guide to Doctor Who classic hardcover books. More hardcovers are coming for sale, and people are asking, what do I charge? Well, I've been keeping track of those prices, both on private and public areas. So eBay sales are one way to go, but sometimes private sales happen, or sometimes other sales happen, or other bookshops have them. We incorporate those into the plan as well. So there you go. We also list all the reprints. There are some people that are trying to get a full set of Doctor Who books, and then they realize, oh, wait, you mean there are reprints? Yes, there are reprints. All right, so what's going on? I'm going to take a quick thing of coffee here. I don't edit this out. This is live. So, I've been on a couple episodes now of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS podcast on YouTube, and what a great bunch of people on there. I love it. I love that show. Check them out on YouTube. They just reached the 100,000 subscriber thing, so that's pretty cool. So I am now a frequent guest on that program. Let's get ready for Doctoberfest. I know it's June, but We've only got a few months left before we get to that. That's Saturday, October 17th at Who North America. And yes, I will be the headline guest once again. This year, my panel for the year, which will also be presented at Chicago TARDIS and anywhere else I go, it's the history of Doctor Who in comics. That means anything from 1964 to the present day that appeared in comic form. From cards to magazines to annuals to comic books. So that's the whole idea there. Chicago TARDIS. We've got that going here, November 27th, 29th at the no, it's going to come back to me in a moment here where the hotel. It's in Lombard. It'll come back to me in a moment. I'm blanking. I didn't have it written down. But anyway, our guests include Jodie Whittaker, the 13th Doctor. That's really exciting. So there we go. Jeffrey Beavers will be there. He was the Master from Keeper of Traken. His daughter, Daisy Ashford, who plays Liz Shaw for Big Finish. And of course, the Big Finish CEO, Jason Hay-Ellery. So I do need to look this up real quick because it's bothering me that I don't remember. The Westin in Lombard. The Westin Hotel. How could I forget that? I've been going there for years. So there you go. If you would like me to present at your convention or festival, and or if you want me on your podcast, you want to be on my podcast, give me a message here at drwhocollectorspodcast@gmail.com, and we'll make that happen. We've got some guests already kind of forming in for this part of the summer. Okay, so on today's show, we thought it was a good idea to talk. I know it's been a while now. This news is not new, but we're going to talk about the missing episodes that were recently recovered and what's happening with that with Brandon Peters and Eluides Pagan today to celebrate 100 episodes. The Ultimate Collectible was an episode I did a while back, and I want to make sure that we talk about it because that episode got a lot more hits when those episodes were found. So I'll talk more about that. I'm not going to have a separate time for my time. I'm just going to go right into it because there's a lot I want to talk about with 100 episodes, a little recap of what we did here for 100 shows. Anyway, before I do that, though, thank you. We had a problem on our Patreon page. I got word. Well, first of all, I got word that somebody had signed up for a $700 subscription, which I thought, wow, that's great. But then I got a notice that my account had been suspended. I'm like, what did I do? Well, somebody had hacked into the account, and I do mean hacked. They found the password somehow, which I don't know how they did that because my passwords are very hard to guess. But I guess they were trying to take that money. Well, the money was rejected. And then I said, well, hey, what happened to that money? Well, they sent it back to the card holder, even though most of the time there are no refunds on Patreon. Usually you pay your subscription fee and that. So they basically took $700 away from me, which is not cool. So we're going to evaluate whether or not we stay on Patreon. We might just move all our videos to YouTube and go from there because you can eventually monetize those and probably do better. But I'm not a real big fan of them right now. But thanks if you're on Patreon. Thank you for being there. Unfortunately, it may be going away soon. I've heard that from other people as well. So it's just one of those things. But if you'd like to support us in a place that is more secure, I would go to Podbean because that's our podcast provider. So drwhocollectors.podbean.com, and you can subscribe at any level. There's no minimum. Our theme song, of course, is Who's Doctor Who by Barry Mason and Les Reed, performed by Fraser Hines with Jimmy Page on guitar, by the way, the great Led Zeppelin. And, of course, you can get this podcast anywhere you hear your podcasts. So 100 episodes. So where have we gone with 100 episodes? And that's exactly what today is. It's a celebration of 100 episodes. The idea came to me a few years ago, and what I wanted to do was, get the information out there about our, what's available to collect. This started in 2019, by the way. February 2019 is when we started. The first episode, we did the Dalek book and the Dalek pocketbook and Outer Space Guide. I thought we'll just start with the first item in Doctor Who history and go from there. And that's, and that was kind of where it started. And of course, I closed the episode with the full song of Who's Doctor Who. And the exciting thing about that is I got a lot of positivity. So we started to put the format together, and it's really something how the format of the show has taken place, where I have the introduction and all that. So it's, where did I go from there? We talked about the Invasion from Space book. We talked about the Annual 66 and Wurzel Gummidge, the Doctor Who and the Daleks books. And various books were published with that. We did Doctor Who Weekly, Doctor Who Monthly. I had Fantasy Empire, where I had John Peel on the program because he was an editor. Doctor Who on Pinnacle. We talked about my first collectibles. We talked about the unofficial 72 annual. We talked, and of course, Paul Darrow passing away. We talked about John Pertwee annuals. We talked about magazines. Special Doctor Who Peter Cushing movie collectibles, and so it was a lot of fun to kind of go into specifics as well as generalities. We had a lot of great things to go with that. We didn't quite have any guests yet, but we went into price gouging, odds and ends, more annuals. The Chicago TARDIS roundups, and we did a live episode of Chicago TARDIS with David Howe, Samantha Stone, and Tony Witt. I'm still working on trying to fix that audio. It's just awful, but that's just how it was. And then, we kind of went from that. I used to do, Amazon.com actually used to do a little sponsor with me to do a Christmas episode. They've stopped doing that, so I've stopped doing it. It's just not helpful. And then, of course, we started getting into Doctor Who story collections. I started about episode 23. I went into a deep dive into the Doctor Who hardcovers. We covered the first 2 years, the first 4 books, and brought Tony Witt onto the program. And we went through year by year across many episodes to cover all the books with all the specifics behind them. So that was a lot of fun to do. Now, episode 26, that was back in 2020, was the ultimate collectible, missing Doctor Who episodes. And I talk about private collectors. And I actually got posts or responses from people like Philip Morris, who put out a whole lot of information that turned out to be garbage. But that's just how that goes. We did hold a collectors roundtable. And that was really interesting. We had a bunch of folks on the program, and I never really caught on, so I didn't do it again. We tried another roundtable, and it didn't quite. You try things, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So it's important to know, to learn. It's important to learn. I went into Dennis Fisher. I did an episode on unusual target books, which was, the stuff that was not novels, like the travel guide or quiz books and things like that. And we brought Tony Witt on that. We talked about laser discs and Betamaxes. We've talked about Radio Times. Radio Times. I'm still collecting Radio Times, still looking for various issues which have important listings, which is something that, I'm still looking for. We kind of moved into, in 2021, we talked about coffins. We had Doctor Who coffins. We, in December, I remember in November of 2021, I had contacted Chris Achilleos. And I said, can I get you on the podcast? And he said, sure. So we actually set it up for February, but unfortunately he passed away in December. And that was, I did my own little, thing with, an episode 44, if you want to check it out, was my tribute to my friend Chris. We lost a big thing. I started having guests on the program. I started with Katie Haynes, who is a well-known 13 cosplayer. I had David J. Howe on the program again with the New Who Adventures. We had Lauren Cornelius on the program for playing Dodo Chaplet. We had Sylvia Elizabeth, who was a cosplayer for Sarah Jane Smith. We started talking with more cosplayers as I was getting into the cosplay world, and it was really fun to do that. The next things, we kind of got into plates, and we talked about alternative media. We talked about, I talked with Sadie Miller, the daughter of Sarah Jane Smith's Elizabeth Sladen, or Elizabeth Sladen, I should say. That was a lot of fun. And she's a good person. We did a live episode at Chicago TARDIS with Brian Wiega, who's a collector of sonic screwdrivers. And then in episode 59, we had our first big guest on the program, Mr. Peter Purvis. 46 episodes of Doctor Who, including Morton Dill, which he tells a lot of great stories, including the story about how he had the Trilogic game from the Celestial Toymaker and threw it away. So I thought, oh my gosh, I was supposed to have him on the stage at Chicago TARDIS, but his health wasn't very good. And then he decided that international travel was no longer going to happen. So I also, I moved into another realm here with episode 61, John Walsh, who published a book called Doctor Who and the Daleks, the book of the film, by Studio Canal. And then I had Tim Traylor on the program, and we became good friends after that, playing the third Doctor, who's one of my favorite Doctors. Then I had Tasha Achilleos on the program. We talked about Chris Achilleos and how all of that, was going. I actually got invited to Chris's funeral, and it was a virtual funeral, so it was on Zoom, and he had a Dalek honor guard, and there were quite a few people there. It was an honor to be there. So just amazing things. I talked with cosplayer Abby Rago, which was really interesting because much later I found out, I've been a teacher for over 30 years. She was a former student of mine. And I was like, oh my gosh, when she told me her maiden name, and I'm like, of course it was elementary school, and she was like in 4th and 5th grade. So, I wouldn't have recognized her even if I tried, but it was nice that she pointed it out when she asked me, hey, were you a teacher at this place? I'm like, yeah. Oh, I get that every once in a while. It's, you do the job long enough, you do run into folks. We talked about, we did talk with Eluides about Oktoberfest. We did 60 items for 60 years on the 60th anniversary. I had Katie Manning on the main stage at Chicago TARDIS, and we used the recording for the podcast. We tried to bring back the lost stories of the late Gene Airy. We talked about reproductions. We talked to Ken Deep for Long Island Doctor Who. We talked to Stephen Warren Hill, who's the principal author of Red, White, and Who. We've talked with Elizabeth Wade, another podcaster. It was a lot of fun to talk to cosplayer, excuse me. So I love talking to cosplayers. It's really kind of fun to do that. I had Neil Cole on the program. He does the It Belongs in a Museum. We had William and Lee Thompson on the program, the world's largest Doctor Who collection as recorded by the Guinness Book. My interview with Fraser Hines and Wendy Padbury from Chicago TARDIS was also recorded for our podcast. And we talked with Andy Price, who's appeared in many Collector's Corners on Blu-rays, and I appeared with him on a Blu-ray. That was something too, when I got to be my material, my photographs of my items got to be included in a Doctor Who Blu-ray. I was just blown away. Season 25 Blu-ray. I have the Steelbook. I have 2 copies of the Steelbook, both signed by Sylvester and Sophie. My photos of the Spirit of Light stuff appear on that, and I'm credited on there, which is kind of cool. We talked with Alex Storer, who wrote a book called The Evolution of the Toy Dalek. We wrapped up, we did wrap up our hardcovers all the way to year 1988. And we did that with Tony Witt. So we finished that all up. We did the John Pertwee collection. We had MJ Huntsgood on the program. Talked about her love of Doctor Who collecting, and she's an author. We had Dylan Rees and Keith Barnfather on the program talking about the real-time picture story. We had David J. Howe on the program for Who Me. We had Richard Lloyd on the program, who's a collector. And we finished up with, we had Nick Seidler and Libby Shea talking about Fantastic. And last episode, we had Cal Power on the program, who's a Dr. 13 cosplayer and also has a TARDIS in her backyard, and talks about how that worked out. So that's 100 episodes in a nutshell. We've had over 90 or so most outrageous offers, including a $1 million calendar. Nothing's beat that. We've had all kinds of collection protection from Bags Unlimited Incorporated. I actually ran the gamut on that, ran out of, you can go to bagsunlimited.com and find what you need there. We launched a TikTok channel. If you're not on TikTok, you should get on there. If you want to see the Who Room, that's the best place to do it. I've had some people here. I remember when Russell McGee and Brandon Peters and Eluides Pagan came over to film. I'm on a documentary that's going to be released next year, I believe. And they wanted to do my thing here, and they just sat in the room and looked around and went, "Oh my gosh." Yeah. It's not overwhelming to me anymore, but it is to folks that come over here. William and Lee Thompson were here as well, and they were taking pictures of things they didn't have. So it was nice to know that. There are things that I have here that nobody else has. I have some things here that very few people have. So it's a lot of fun. But I do a TikTok channel, Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Just look for that, and you'll find me there. And I've gotten over 2,000 followers so far. We do have a YouTube channel. We do have, all that. We're on all the socials, and it's just been a lot of fun to do. I'm going to keep going for as long as I can. But you'll see me at the conventions. You'll see me at various events. And I always love it when someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, I follow you on whatever this is, and I'm really pleased to meet you." Or later you see a video from someone that says, "Oh, I met him, and he was so nice in person." I try to be. I mean, I try. You have to be. It's just, you got to be friendly. That's just really important. Also, as I'm wrapping up my comments here, we just, as of this recording, we found out that the BBC is not doing a Christmas special and is looking for a new production company to run Doctor Who, which means Doctor Who will get a new chapter. But unfortunately, we've got bad press out there saying that the Doctor Who has been canceled. Well, it hasn't been canceled. It's going to a new show runner. It's going to a new company. So we'll get something new, hopefully something fresh and back to what people expect. I liked Doctor Who all the way to the end run. I'm not going to lie. I think it was great. But let's see what happens in the future. And remember, we've all been here before. I lived through the wilderness years, playing the Doctor Who pinball, watching the 96 movie when it aired on TV, listening to Big Finish Productions, importing those cassettes over here when no one else carried them, looking at other offshoot fan-made videos and things like that, rewatching the series, and going to the various events and things like that, and keeping my collection growing, knowing that it would come back one day. So there you go. All right, we're going to take a break here, get some commercials in here, and then we're going to get to our main story to talk about missing episodes. So stay right there. We'll be right back.
You were invited on an adventure across all of time and space. In a completely random order. It's the Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. Jump in the TARDIS with your hosts,
Eric Gulbranson, Asad Kheshki,
and
Matthew Kressel.
Explore Doctor Who TV stories, audio adventures, and books, both novels and non-fiction. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast. It's the entire Whoniverse on shuffle. The Police Box in the Junkyard podcast is a member of the Direction Point Network and is available about once a month wherever you find your podcasts. You are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Experience them for the first time with Juliet as she dwells on social issues, history, fashion, and the size of a flashlight.
We're the Time Streams Podcast.
Find us on Spotify, Stitcher, or Apple Podcasts. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
We are going on a journey, a very long journey, through the world of the Target novelizations in publication order. Every week, we are looking at a new book, talking about Terrence Dix, Malcolm Hulke, and all our Doctor Who novelization friends. Whatever you do, keep turning the pages. This is Jason Miller of the Doctor Who Literature Podcast, a member of the Direction Point Podcast Network, and you are listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Hello, fellow time travelers, and welcome to the Doctor Who Target Book Club podcast, the only podcast to discuss, in story order, all the Doctor Who novelizations. My name is Tony Whitt, and every 2 weeks or so, I'm joined by a 2 to 3 person discussion panel, including our so-called expert who's been a Who fan since 1979. That would be me. We also get the views of intermediate, casual, and novice fans who either have never seen the show or who have never read these books until these podcasts, including
Dalton Hughes
and
Alison Fitz-Seyfried.
You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you find good podcasts, or even ones like ours. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast on the Direction Point Podcast Network. Keep collecting.
Traveling the Vortex. Are you ready to embark on an epic journey through time and space? Join the thousands of Whovians around the world who've discovered Traveling the Vortex, the ultimate Doctor Who podcast for die-hard fans and curious newcomers alike.
Every week, we dive deep into the Whoniverse, discussing the episodes, theories, and hidden gems. We dissect the Doctor's adventures, share behind-the-scenes stories, and explore the legacy of this iconic show.
Traveling the Vortex brings fans together, fostering a global community of Whovians. Whether you're a fan of classic or new Who, there's something for everyone.
Join us on this incredible journey as we unravel the mysteries of time and space.
Don't miss out. Subscribe to Traveling the Vortex today on your favorite podcast platform.
Traveling the Vortex. Your ticket to adventure awaits.
Traveling the Vortex is a proud member of the Direction Point Podcast Network. You're listening to the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. Keep collecting.
Up there is the scanner, those are the doors, that is a chair with a panda on it. Sheer poetry, dear boy.
And welcome back. We're continuing our 100th episode of the Doctor Who Collectors Podcast, and today we're talking about stuff that's being talked about on every Doctor Who podcast across the nation and across the world. The discovery of 2 Doctor Who episodes previously thought lost forever, and adding to the discussion of could there be more, and what is going on out there with this thing? So joining me are 2 of my good friends. First, Brandon Peters, host of the Brandon Peters Show. I've been on his show many times through Doctoberfest and most recently for Batman. Welcome, Brandon.
Hey, thank you. Happy to be on here, I guess, proper. I did a reading for you.
Right, yes.
A dramatic reading for you a year ago.
Yes.
Happy to be here as a normal old guest.
That's right. Yeah, the Genary story revival, and that's still ongoing. Mm-hmm. We're still looking for those stories. And also joining me is a good friend, Eluides Pagan, who he and I have been at Doctoberfest together. We've been at Chicago TARDIS together, and he's been on the show before. So welcome back, my friend.
It's great to be here. I'm very excited about this.
Thank you. So, so recently fans have been buzzing, of course, over this newly discovered material. And so, joining me, just basically as Doctor Who fans, I'm going to assume you both have seen the 2 stories. at this point. So yeah, I have
multiple times.
Yes, I've done a few watchings, and this morning I had a quick chat with Peter Purvis, he said his health has gotten better since he's been on the news and doing, the getting to sit in the theater and being duped actually into going to a theater, and he does a diary on his podcast. So I'm not going to steal his thunder here, but I'm actually I joined his Patreon and became a producer of his program, so it was kind of cool to be part of that. And he's been on my show before too, so he's been a friend for a couple of years, and he even name dropped me at Chicago TARDIS, which
right, I caught
the
that,
heck out of me, because he actually wrote to me after he had wrote to Gene and said, I can't come, I'm just too not well. He wrote to me personally and said, hey, I know you prepared this thing for me and I just can't do it. I said, no problem, don't worry, get better. His health has been kind of on and off the last couple of months. He's been in and out of the hospital, but he's home now and he's feeling pretty good. But that was nice to get that. Anyway, the story, of course, out there, everybody, that we know is that a film collector passed away. And preservationists have been going through his collection, finding many, many things. And the big notable thing was episodes 1 and 3 of the Dalek Master Plan, or The Nightmare Begins in Devil's Planet. Adding to what already exists of the Dalek Master Plan, 5 and 10 had already been in the archives. And I believe a few other episodes, I don't have that list in front of me, but a few more of those are actually there. So with the notable thing of Mission to the Unknown being actually recreated by a group of college students with the help of Nicholas Briggs to recreate Mission to the Unknown, because there is probably no chance that one exists. And the episode titled The Feast of Stephen probably doesn't exist because it was never exported to any other country. It was shown in the UK only. So let me just get, first of all, reactions from you guys. The news that hit, and when you saw the story, what was going through your minds? Brandon?
Okay. I recorded a reaction video with. It was funny because the night it broke, Stephen Warren Hill, author of Red, White, and Who, and we're currently doing a Val Lewton retrospective on my show that drops once a month, and we were recording that night, and like an hour before the thing dropped, I sent him a Facebook message, and I was like, "Looks like we're gonna have a little more to talk about tonight." And he didn't see it until we started the recording. And he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, should we just record right now and put a video up on YouTube about just talking about this right away?" He's like, yeah, hit record. So we talked about it. I was just blown away because, aside from the episodes being back, we now have this thing that's like ultimately in modern terms a quality control copy. We used to have these ones that would go to sell the markets, but we had the quality control copy to look at, to kind of preemptively think, what are the Australians going to think is too violent?
Right.
So now there's extra copies that multiple people would have been looking at for episodes.
Yes.
That means everything's game again almost. And we think that some of the copies of stuff we already have might be those copies. They might not have been sale copies. What employees of the BBC have these copies, and did they do that for Feast of Stephen even? Like, who knows?
It's possible.
It's possible.
The likelihood, I know, at least the way Peter told me, is that he barely remembered that, and then I remember sending him a loose cannon edition of that so he could refresh his memory. And he said that he was told that episode, of course, they didn't pay the same rate for that episode because it was only going to be shown in the UK at Christmas time, and it really doesn't need to be part of the Dalek Master Plan. It's really it's an extra episode they threw in, and it's not critical to the storyline. So if we get everything else but that, you still have a complete story.
Yeah. But the thing with that is like there's that, and but there's also who followed the rules accordingly when they were doing that, because we have all these chroma key things from that were supposed to be shut off from the Pertwee era that, look, someone didn't do their job, we can get the color back on these so did someone just like, I'm going through 12 episodes of Doctor Who, and mistakenly do that? There's rumor, I think I was talking to Robert Warnock one time, and he said that there's long been a rumor that there was a copy made for Hartnell and his family to watch on Christmas Day whenever they wanted. just
and
because
that hasn't been found. So yeah,
right.
And
And
Heather Hartnell's biography, of course, she does talk about the missing episodes, but there's no mention of any personal use. And there was also, I'll bring up one other thing too, and I wish I still had this video, but it's long gone. But there was a breakfast show where Peter Davison and Patrick Troughton were on the couch and being interviewed by the morning team. And at one point, they said, Peter was saying, well, I haven't watched them all because they're all lost. And Patrick Troughton turns to Peter and goes, oh, but what about and stops. And everybody thought, wait, is he talking about episodes that might exist that apparently not. It was something else, but that kind of got that was back in the late 80s. So there was a lot of rumor flying around that. And of course, the most famous one is the guy that basically blackmailed the BBC for 10th Planet episode 4 and sent a blank tape. And got his money, but they paid him and he got nothing. Which probably, according to the fan poll, 10th Planet Part 4 is the holy grail of missing episodes. Dalek Master Plan. As a story, I've read the John Peel novelizations, and big shout out to John Peel for novelizing that monster. It's a great story. It's really a good story. Long story, but a good story. Seeing the first scenes of episode 1, Nicholas Courtney's first Doctor Who appearance is now preserved. In that story, Brett Vian is in the opening scene, and I saw that and I went, that's his first appearance in Doctor Who, and we have it now. So that was really fun. Also, much more footage of Adrienne Hill and Katarina. She's sadly no longer with us, but just some wonderful performance from her as well. A lot of good screen time with her. I'll read this. Let me go to you for a second. Your reaction to seeing these episodes.
Well, first hearing the news, I was sitting here going, okay, that can't be real. That can't be true.
Right. I went there too.
So many times they keep saying, oh, they're going to release, and then it turns out it's fake news. It wasn't real. It was either a scam or just someone heard it from someone who heard it from someone who heard it from someone else. And so there was nothing. I mean, you had the Omni rumor back in 2013 that was starting to build up and get very exciting, and it seemed to have traction, and then it just died.
Yeah.
So with this one, I was sitting here going, okay, is this really real? So I definitely jumped online and started doing some research really quick to see who else is mentioning this, or is it just a fan-driven rumor? And then, very excited then to see evidence that it was found. And then, of course, talking to a few other people, everyone having connections to people in the business that were also saying, it's not a lie, and just going nuts over this. So extremely excited. So when I finally was able to watch the episodes, it was just fantastic. I've always loved the Daleks as villains. I love the classic stuff, and that was the one story that I thought we're probably never going to see anything from, besides what's already been found. Chances are by now it's done and over with. So to finally be able to watch it was great. At least to be able to watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 straight through. Then I had grabbed the loose cannon version to watch, and then episode 5. Yeah, for episode 4, and then episode 5. So at least in a sense, almost have this full run of 1 through 5. So
that's made.
I still hope that 4 pops up.
You get one scene of episode 4 of the Traders. You get one scene.
There was a product called the Lost Episodes on audio CD, and those have been flying off eBay.
Lost in Time.
Lost in Time. And I remember back in the early 90s, I got camera copies of episodes 5 and 10 of Dalek Master Plan, and I remember watching those. I'm old enough to remember that, but it's like and watching those, and of course I watched them on Lost in Time as well, and then seeing these two put it together with just getting a better understanding of that story. There's so many great actors in this season. This particular story of Doctor Who with Kevin Stoney, of course, playing Mavic Chen, and and having some wonderful.
Jean Marsh comes later. Yeah,
Jean Marsh coming later. The wife of John Pertwee at that time, I believe. And before she got into Upstairs, Downstairs, but it's amazing. And so for my one more story. When I was in college, my brother calls me and said, "Hey, I've got the entire Tomb of the Cybermen." I said, "No, you don't." No, you don't. He's like, "I do." So I came home, and of course, it was released. It was like the fastest release to video cassette that ever happened. When they found all 4 of those episodes in Hong Kong, I believe, and I watched I just sat there and watched the whole thing. I didn't even get up for 4 episodes because I thought this is an amazing thing. And, Barry Letts did an introduction to it on the VHS, and I think that's on the bonus feature of the DVD now. But I thought, okay, maybe there's a chance that more of these episodes come. And then fast forward a little bit later, Nigeria, Enemy of the World pops up. And most of Web of Fear pops up. And some of these oddball episodes come in. I remember when Celestial Toymaker 4 was found. And that was a big deal. When I was first into Doctor Who, the only episode of War Machines that existed was 2. And then later, somebody found 1, 3, and 4. It was just amazing. They found the whole thing. And if you watch the War Machines, you'll notice the quality changes at episode 2 because that's the one they had, the one that they had. So it's really something that now fans, and I've read so many blogs, I've listened to so many podcasts in the past few days, just saying, okay, what is going on? And I want to basically reference a previous episode of this podcast, and off the top of my head, I don't know which one it is, but it was called The Ultimate Collectible. And it was my research with Mr. Philip Morris on people collecting films, Doctor Who episodes, missing Doctor Who episodes, and keeping them for that collectible value. Because if nobody else has it, it's got to be worth a lot of money. And I thought, okay, that seems strange. And of course, his articles have been published in Doctor Who magazine. His stuff has been posted online, and he's been called a liar, a thief, and a whatever it else is out there. And I'm Philip, if you're listening, I apologize. I'm just telling you what other people have called you, because he actually responded to me directly when I posted that episode. He wrote to me and said, "Hey, I heard your podcast. You are correct on some things," and he corrected me on others. And I said, "Okay," but I wasn't going to go back and rewrite the story because everything that I quoted was from the magazine or from online, and I'm really careful with my facts as best I can. So to my listeners, if you haven't heard this already, this, of course, why are these missing episodes missing? It's because of the wiping policy that the BBC had in the 60s and the early 70s, and they routinely erased tapes and burnt films because they didn't have anywhere to put them. It was a storage issue. In one of the stories, someone had gone to the room and there were 7 cans of film holding the door open, and it was the entire first Dalek story. So he grabbed them and brought him to his office.
Ian Levine, I believe, right?
Ian Levine, yes, that's right.
Ian Levine, yep.
It was Ian Levine. And so he said, we were this close to losing the first Dalek story. And I guess some of the episodes were kept behind for film value. Some of the episodes had been sent to film festivals, like the Crotons was sent to a film festival and got returned. So that was why we have the Crotons, and it's such an amazing shape. All of the War Machines made it for some reason. That was never a missing episode. So just to ask one question here to come out, now that we've seen more of the Dalek Master Plan, do we now have a better understanding of Daleks in the Hartnell era?
A bit. I think they're still spooky in this time.
Oh yeah,
that was the one thing I got. And the two people that benefited most from these 2 missing episodes being returned to us and us seeing them are Douglas Camfield and Adrian Hill. Because Camfield, this is the first time Richard Martin's not shooting the Daleks.
Right.
And receive fan wisdom. Richard Martin just makes sure everybody's in the frame and then starts going. Like everybody's like, okay. Yeah. Cam Field is he's doing stuff I didn't think you could do with studio cameras here. And he's making the Daleks intense, scary. They're not saying exterminate. They're like trying out like catchphrases in this one, if you notice, which we've had the audio before, but it becomes more apparent when you're watching it. And just like the things like when they're all speaking and they do the Mavic Chen reveal, like we all know Mavic Chen's a villain of this, but if you watch episode 1 back in 65, whenever this comes out, and 64 or 65, and you're watching this, you don't know that, and the way they reveal him is this guy walks in and he like is low to the floor and pans up.
Yeah, you see the boot,
and you're like, oh, it's the guy that everybody thinks is great and this hero of the universe, and he's with the Daleks, and that's like, whoa.
And even just before that, when he's giving his speech, one of the guys in the studio is mouthing the speech with him. Like, I know this.
That's something you can't tell. Yeah. Like that was one of the first things I picked up on. I was like, oh, this guy's mocking him. I never from the audio and the tele. Yeah, you can't. Those are the little things that's like, maybe the Space Pirates is amazing if we ever could see it, but you don't know until you actually see the thing. So it's wild because the mocking thing, it just the Daleks, to me, I'm like, these episodes made it even darker and more grim a story than I had imagined or thought possible with what we had already. I mean, we know the fate of Sarah Kingdom at the end is gruesome, right? We can't really see, but we know it's gruesome. We know it goes some places, but it gets this. The first half, I think, is I'm not in the I'm probably in the popular consensus here. First half's a bit stronger with this than the second half, because the second half is jumping around a bunch, having fun with the monk. And but this year,
got to bring the monk into it.
This year we're having this adventure to like Star Wars. This is like Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Chewie escaping Hoth and getting chased through the asteroid field. Like, this is what this kind of represents here, is this, like, we can't get rid of these Daleks. We're getting away from the Daleks. We have something they want. They keep getting after us, and we keep getting in these hijinks. But it just feels a lot darker, I don't know, seeing them.
Yeah, same question, Eludis.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed how they were putting him across. They... Later, especially in modern times, they started to make them a little scary again, but then it just became too cliche. They're just not as scary as they used to be. You don't feel as afraid of them generally. I mean, like when they reintroduced them with Dalek, talking about how one Dalek, how much damage it could do.
Right.
And it felt like it, and then some of the later stories, you're having a whole bunch of Daleks, and it just doesn't feel as strong. Now you go back to this with Dalek Master Plan. Yeah, you can see why there was such a hype, especially in the UK, over the Daleks back then with the Dalek Mania, because they definitely were a force to reckon with. I mean, they were ones to be afraid of, and the fact that as you're watching this and listening to how they're plotting and okay, these allies are going to be working with us, and they're already talking on their own of, we're getting rid of this guy, and we're getting rid of this guy soon. Don't worry. We're just going to let them think that they're helping us, and they're going to get something out of us. But do we still need them? Type thing. We do. Okay, I guess we won't kill him yet, but very soon we will, and especially when they start talking about Mavic Chan that way.
Yeah.
So you're seeing how he thinks he's going to overpower the Daleks. Meanwhile, the Daleks are sitting here going, we're getting rid of him soon. That was just fun to see. And like you're saying with Camfield, with the filming and everything, I just like the difference of seeing him on screen. I don't know if you want to call it more cinematic in some moments, but there was just, I don't know how to describe it other than just they definitely felt scary and ominous instead of just a caricature anymore.
Absolutely. And I'll just quote, when I did my interview with Peter Purvis and I asked him, what was it like acting with Daleks? And he just gave me a sneer and said, they are totally not intimidating, because during rehearsal, they just do the half guy. There's a guy in there just, they don't put the whole thing on. And he said the other problem was there's 5 feet of studio space and they take up 3. So it was, it was a very different. He was talking a lot about The Chase, episode 6, when he was directly in there. But his memory isn't that great with Dalek Master Plan. Watching the episodes helped him remember a lot of the stuff behind it, and he's been doing that in his video. And by the way, my listeners, if you want to hear more about that from his perspective, go to his podcast, the Peter Purvis podcast. It's one of 2 podcasts that are not a network that I talk about on this show. And the other one, by the way, is the Brandon Peters Show. So there you go. Anyway,
I do think there's a funny anecdote that Peter Purvis had that he said in the interviews and stuff that he remembered that he had a fear that Nicholas Courtney was brought in to replace him on the show.
Yes, that is true.
That was new in the Brett Vian character. And I was like, that's interesting. And I noticed more like they had described Brett Vian as James Bond-like before. Yeah. And I really see it in these 2 episodes as opposed to the one we had of him. So that was...
Oh, especially that when he's locked in the chair.
Yeah.
And that was quite, he was very like, I'm okay. I got
yes.
It. Yeah, it was and just hearing his voice, and of course I hear the Brigadier whenever I hear his voice. Yeah. And I've met him 3 times in my life, and one of the nicest people, by the way, I've ever met in the Doctor Who world was Nicholas Courtney. He signed my Pertwee Pink Annual, so just a great guy. But yeah, watching Adrian Hill kind of be that simple, ancient woman with a limited capacity, and of course that's what eventually caused her to be written out of the show. Peter had said that they just didn't think she could understand the science stuff, and there was no way they were going to catch her up, and they just thought, okay, so we shove her out of an airlock apparently, and later.
But in that sense, at least it worked to make you sympathize for her that much more. I mean, because of that.
Yes.
So when she finally goes and does it, and basically she sacrifices herself, that right there, you suddenly get you can feel some emotion knowing she was the first companion to actually die
on screen,
in Doctor Who. So I could just imagine how people reacted to that one, because it's like you're not going to expect that. You're going to expect to be in danger, but they're going to somehow make it out. Exactly. They're not a side character. She's a companion,
and we get
nope.
2 companions die in this episode.
Right.
Sarah Kingdom is the second one in the same story. Yeah. So this is a bad day for the Doctor.
Right. Making it more grim. Yeah. Like
more grim. Yeah.
I think it's a lot smarter than we ever gave credit, because now that we can see it, Adrian Hill's great. You can see her relationship with Hartnell a lot better.
Yes.
And everybody's pointing to the moment where she's looking at the window in Devil's Planet and the stars. And then like the next episode, she's doing that, but it's because she's being choked or she's being held hostage or whatever. And they also, there's a foreshadow, from Steven talking about the airlock. We got to be careful of the airlock. And it's like, this is a lot clever. And you kind of get the sense when you see Hartnell's acting that the Doctor's overconfident that, this is just another Susan. This is just another Vicky. She looks at me like this. But she looked like Adrian Hill. She looks at him like he is almost like a deity as opposed to a relationship, because she's coming from Troy and all that, the Greek gods and stuff. And she probably looks on the Doctor similarly, like he's, ethereal being, and his overconfidence causes, I can't just bring anybody with me on the TARDIS. It's sort of, and, she walks so Jamie and Leela can run. And we had in the new modern Who, we had Adam, who came along for an episode, and Russell T Davies tried to act like, what if a companion didn't work out? We had that. We had that in the master plan. It just didn't exist.
We had it.
Yeah.
We had it.
And also going fast forward a little bit, when producer Innes Lloyd comes on the thing, he criticizes openly the fact that they tried to replace Vicky with Adrian Hill, with Katarina. That didn't work. And then, killing off Sarah Kingdom, and then he didn't care for Jackie Lane at all. That came on, and she's fired in the middle of an episode. And Peter, of course, he said, well, we got to get rid of him too. So, he was, and for years, I know, and this just came out. I know Peter told me this story not long ago, that somebody, because Innes Lloyd, I believe, was still alive. I think he's still around. Somebody ran into him and said, how do you feel about firing Peter Purvis? And he finally said, that was the biggest mistake of my career.
And that got back to Peter. Peter held a grudge against him for a long time. And
Dennis Lloyd died in 1991. Just
91.
FYI.
Okay, so this is before he died.
Yep.
So he had finally got a hold of that story and said, "Wow, okay, I now think differently about him," because the story was at the end of the Savages. Lloyd put his arm around him and said, "Peter, I'm so sorry. We got to make way for younger blood."
Oh, wow.
And that was to introduce Ben and Polly in the next story of the War Machines. And because I asked Peter, I said, how, I would have imagined Stephen's role in the War Machines to be very, very active. And he said that he never saw it because he stopped watching the show. And so that's, which I don't blame him for, because after that he threw away the Trilogic game too. So that was,
well, they're going through, Dalek's 63 to 89 channel or whatever. They're going through the original script, and it was written for Vicky originally.
Yes,
the part, and she survives the airlock and continues on. I think though, I don't know if Sarah Kingdom comes on to that story at all, or if that was added after she died.
Added.
So so Vicky was supposed to be here, do the airlock, and survive.
Right, but Maureen O'Brien was leaving the show, so that
but not on her own accord.
No.
But
no, she was told that it's time to go. There was a lot of turmoil, and William Hartnell recognized this too, because the many beers that Peter and William Hartnell shared after the wrap up was done. William Hartnell would say, "Hey, keep your wits about you, boy, because nobody's irreplaceable." And of course, talking to Peter, and Peter thinking in the past, going, "Well, that goes for you too, Mr. Hartnell," because that was in the middle of season 4, he's gone too. But as we get back to the missing stories, so anyway, and I guess in 2013 we discovered Enemy of the World and Web of Fear, and in 1992 we found Tomb of the Cybermen. So we're now in 2026, and we find 2 more episodes, and they're still not done going through this guy's film collection, as far as I know. Could there be, and I'll just throw this out here, and I'm going to say I think this is a yes answer, but are there more film collections out there that are unknown to most of us that probably have missing Doctor Who episodes?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, this was stated as being bonus episodes.
Yeah,
they're not even the
well, no, they are. They are the one
of.
that. No, these were the ones. So this was the guy back in October that died. They thought he just had one. It wound up being 2.
2, right.
So this is from that one in October that they talked about, and then the guy died, and they had to wait for a legal thing to go to the courts. Yeah. So these were. So when Paul Vanessa said bonus episodes, he was meaning back for his things he's talked about, bonus on top of that. So what we all knew, they weren't bonus to us. They were just bonus on, like, I didn't know of these until that came up. So he had been telling us of episodes for years. These weren't of those, but we had already been known. So that got kind of squabbled up, but these, so just so the listeners know, these were the guy who died back in October.
Right.
And it's anonymous, who does not want to be known, his name known. But so he had 6 episodes, actually. Only 2 of them were missing, and 4 of them were already with the BBC, but they're looking at them to maybe they're better copies. Yeah.
They're looking at quality.
But
go ahead.
I thought it was bonus in the sense that they had no idea these specific 2 were in somebody's hands versus some that they do know for a fact exist in some. So this was a surprise to them. So these are bonus, which means there's a couple others that definitely are considered missing episodes in collector hands. They know who the collector or collectors are, and what those episodes may be, and it's just still trying to work through negotiations, red tape, all that stuff to hopefully have those as well. So there's definitely got to be some missing episodes that truly are missing to us as the fans at the moment.
I feel like we get under 90 missing episodes in the next couple of years. I feel very good. And with the weird thing, to keep it on Dalek's master plan for a sec, the first time we got Dalek master plan episodes, they came in a pair. Then there's the one straggler that was in the church thing. And now we got it. We now got
another church
as one does. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Put it in the cupboard. for movie night. We got another pair of them, and I'm wondering if there's this string of collectors that, if you put them all together, have most of the Daleks' master plan.
That's a good theory. Yeah,
this is a story. This is a story that they've told us for years. Isn't coming back.
Right.
Not coming back. Nothing. Don't. Marco Polo is the one that's coming back, folks. Marco Polo. And we have not seen a thing.
I have that in my notes because Marco Polo has been purported to exist in its entirety in a private collection. And even Philip Morris hinted at that. That he's actually got some sort of confirmation, or at least a film can picture that shows that, but that doesn't mean anything. Can could be empty. And according to Doctor Who fans, the majority of Doctor Who fans want to find Marco Polo. That's the number one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The second one is more of Dalek Master Plan. We want to get the rest of those episodes together. And the other one would be part 4 of 10th Planet. And then you go down the list again. Power of the Daleks would be a great one to find, or Evil of the Daleks.
For me.
The rest of the Space Pirates, or most of it, or any more than just one or two. And of course, there's a few stragglers, like The Web of Fear is missing episode 3, Ice Warriors is missing 1, Invasion is missing some. And of course, we don't have anything of the Massacre of the Savages at all. So
Fury from the Deep, right?
Fury from the Deep, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's very, as far as what's out there, and I think there are more Hartnell stories out there than Troughton stories. That's unfortunate. The Troughton era just got devastated from this whole wiping process, and I don't know if realistically we're going to see many more Troughton stories come to light.
Right. I have rumors of like 2 to 3 of the Wheel in Space episodes being out there at different times. I've heard that one has come up here and there, but until it happens, it happens. But that one's because if you keep hearing about that one, something's true somewhere
brewing
about it. Yeah,
Wheel in Space was also part of some film festival that did not return the episodes to the BBC. So there's possibilities. And I know this only because I remember, and this has nothing to do with missing episodes, but back when I was doing conventions in the 80s with Gene, we were at a show where we actually knew the Lionheart guy was there, and he had brought the videos. He had, color copies of, he had Spearhead from Space. He had Curse of Peladon. He had a few things that had never been shown in the United States. And I remember before we left him, he goes, "Hey, you guys want these tapes?" And we looked at each other and said, "No, we don't want those." I mean, because they said on their official property of Lionheart. I said, I don't want to get caught with this. I mean, you could lose your job, dude. I'm like, no. So I'm like, no, but I'm pretty sure copies of those tapes started to, circulate like they did back in the day. I mean, after the 5 Faces of Doctor Who aired in 1983, copies of Unearthly Child, The Crotons, Carnival of Monsters, and The Three Doctors all started appearing in the United States in these awful camera PAL conversions on a big scale. And it was the first time anybody had seen the Crotons in this country. It was illegally until they started bringing it over for conventions. And so there's a lot of people that have seen a bunch of stuff. I saw episode 2 of The War Machines at a fan club meeting. Guy had it. It was a horrible copy. You had to turn the lights off and wear sunglasses.
I'll watch
Generation 18 or 19.
Yeah,
I'll watch blurs with good audio any day of the week. I don't care.
I grew up in the on TV era. You just kind of squinted and you see the movie. And
you just keep turning that switch a little bit.
Turn the audio up as high as you can. You can still hear the soundtrack. Absolutely, it's.
I always want because they're like, these aren't in good condition to that's not up to you to decide. You let me. Let me know. I'll let you know if I don't want to watch. Like I will watch blurs go around the screen and be like, I'm watching a missing episode.
They flickered. They were. I mean, I was privy to this because I was part of the. I belonged to the Emissaries of the White Guardian fan club back in Skokie, and the guy that ran that club, his name was Gordon Lurie. He's probably one of the most mysterious people, and John Lavallee will always say, "Oh, that's
who that is because he's been trying to trace that guy for years. He's disappeared. But anyway, he would get PAL tapes sent to him. And he had this elaborate setup. He had a conversion box to plug in a PAL TV and he would use an American VHS video camera, the best one you could get, and would copy the tape. You would play the tape and just basically put the camera square on the screen, and you would get that flicker of film. And the quality was really quite good because these were off-air copies of stuff or stuff that was passed around. And I thought, and that's where they all started. That was ground zero for all of those tapes that circulated throughout the country, which is funny because if you ask Stephen Warren Hill, he was part of a club that was trying to get rid of all of those copies. He's like, oh, you were there when they were started. We tried to get those things off the market and get rid of them. And I thought, okay, that was interesting.
That's a good mini doc. The battle.
Yeah, it is. That's a lot of little stories about of us back in the day. But I said he was part of this club in the north suburbs. It said that when we got these tapes, we erased them, we got rid of them, we didn't pass them on. I'm like, you didn't watch them first, right? He goes, well, yeah, we watched them, but we didn't. We moved on, but that's it's interesting too because also that proved the rumors too back then. And I'm talking about the early '90s was that missing episodes were being circulated on VHS tapes around the country, and of course nothing like that was even true. But it was interesting that as soon as 5 and 10 of Dalek Master Plan were announced that they were in the archives, they started circulating around the country, or stuff that was completely returned to the BBC, or stuff that they had or loaned out and discovered that there were some off-site. Like a different, like BBC had a different place where they kept some stuff, and they said, "Oh, we've got this over here. We've got, we've got the second, what the Edge of Destruction, I guess, was in a different place, and
Gotcha.
They had that, and so we have that story. We've got most of the Hartnell era is available. It's the Trout era that is really decimated, and up until I believe, and I still believe, I think Invasion of the Dinosaurs Part 1 is still black and white, I think.
It is two-colored. They're missing a color. So I think they're missing the red from it. It's either red or the blue, but it's heavily green, and it's missing one of the colors from it.
Oh, and the story behind that was reported in Doctor Who magazine that was probably wiped because it just said Invasion on the because that was what it was. They didn't want them
scheduled to be destroyed.
The big reveal.
Troutons. So
it was a Trouton story, So they plopped it with the rest of the Invasion story. So that Pertwee was missing, and I remember the day when they announced that they had finally got a complete run of Doctor Who from 1970, and they got that last episode in. So all of the Pertwee episodes existed, not all in color though. That was the downside. But I guess that question to discuss next is, how, and I know Doctor Who fans have been doing this loud and proud all across the internet, is how do we convince these collectors to, let us take a look at these, and then you can keep the film and enjoy them for the rest of your career. But how do we get the message out that, this is really something the fans want? We want those missing.
I think it's already starting to happen with Films Fabulous.
Yeah, they're key.
They're doing such an amazing job with things, and how they're pushing for a lot of these collectors, at least, hey, let us help you at the very least to organize and catalog what you own. Because they don't even know what they have sometimes. They just buy up whole bunches of them. They see a couple titles they like.
Lots of film.
And like, hey, I want those. How about you just take this entire stack for this much? Okay, I'll just take the whole stack. They have no idea what's in them.
Right.
You don't know if the films are in the wrong cans, which is always a possibility.
Right. That happens a lot.
And that's happened before with things. But the fact that they're doing that and getting some of these collectors to realize, okay, people do, besides us, those heavy-duty collectors going out and buying them, they're starting to realize other people out there really do cherish these things and would like to see them. And I mean, part of it is, it's that collector mentality that I've got something you don't, but there's also the other mentality a lot of them have of, this needs to be preserved. I don't want this to go, so I'm holding on to this, in a sense, to curate it for myself personally, to protect it. But now you're seeing there are other people that truly are as passionate as you that don't have the ability to go out and get these films. share.
Yeah.
And I think some of them are starting to realize, because there's so many people out there that do have that love for it, that they're starting to loosen up their handholds a little bit with that to start sharing. But I understand some are still a little terrified that, from the horror stories of BBC coming and confiscating and taking these things from them when they found out people would have some things at one point. So they would just keep their mouths shut about it.
Right. Right.
Now they're being told there's a chance, we just want to make copies. We'll give them back to you. We promise.
You can be in the room when we do it. Yeah,
you can be anonymous too. There's a lot of them worried that they will be charged with stealing and lose their pensions that they're being given.
Angry,
right?
Or Doctor Who fans with pitchforks and torches at their house.
But the thing,
they were at Film and Fabulous,
right? The thing with Film is Fabulous is Doctor Who episodes is a byproduct of what they're actually doing. Right. They're in it to find missing silent films, better prints of films, all sorts of things, and that TV comes along with it. Because they found I think they found a Beatles performance that's not been had. Yeah. They found a lot of episodes of things that's a byproduct, as opposed to somebody going, "I heard you have Doctor Who. What you going to do?" And so they're not even really having a discussion of Doctor Who. They're like, "You have something valuable. You have this collection." Also, there's families that don't know what to do with lost loved ones, collections, things like that, and they're doing a real service. We're happy about 2 Doctor Who films, but I believe they've found over 450 silent films at this point that didn't exist. Like that's probably more important than 2 episodes of Doctor Who in the long run of things. But that's the thing is, it's about all collections, and I think that's helping more than what they call the treasure hunt.
Right.
And what they did was right. They went through the whole collection first, pretty much, because the stuff they're still going through, I think, is they found he collected train videos and stuff, not stuff that's a lot of value to media. They meant a lot to this guy, and then they did the proper thing with it, and then they also they kept him anonymous. And they pleaded to the BBC. They said, "You get this back, but it's got to go for free on iPlayer for people to watch immediately."
And it went to YouTube as well. So
went to YouTube, which Doctor Who, I don't think you have to worry about Doctor Who not selling on physical media because it's there on iPlayer or YouTube.
Oh, it's going to sell.
Buy it.
It's going to sell.
Yeah. We buy it. We like more so than Star Trek. We buy the physical media as Doctor Who fans.
A new issue of Lost in Time needs to be done now because of
they're all gone.
Yeah, well, I know
they've been animated. Like the stragglers.
I know.
I think someone's done a checklist, and it's like the only thing left on there is Dalek Master Plan and Space Pirates. And the Crusades it's on a Blu-ray box set now, so it has a home. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, Crusades.
Somewhere I've got an old PAL VHS tape of one of the stories where they had 3 of the stories, and the other one's on an audio CD that's in there, narrated by somebody. And I thought, well, that was pretty smart. I mean, because the audio all the audios exist, so that was something that came out of that time when people were passing cassette tapes around. I still have a few of those cassette tapes from the 80s. And with your argument there, Brandon, too, I'm also a kind of a film guy, too, in TV. I was hoping they would find something of the first season of The Avengers.
Well, there was a moment where they said, and then they took it back. So I think the collector decided not to. I think they knew of it, thought they were in with the collector, and then the collector backed away. They haven't really responded to what's with that. And there's been stories of collectors that are bitter with the BBC, and I'll never give it back. I'm like, it's bigger than just that.
It's not just
your grudge,
BBC.
Yeah.
Like, these will die with me. It's like, no, but these are people. But these are people talking about people. Like, does this person exist? Or are you trying to make up a person to talk about an angry collector? But like,
there's still a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
I'm always careful whenever when I did my episode segment on missing episodes, I had to cross every T, dot every I, and I even checked with my lawyer friend to say, hey, can I say this? And they said, it looks like you're well documented here. So, I just don't put out anything that's a myth or a theory. You can say it's a theory, but you can't say this is fact when it's not a real, if it's coming from
another source that you can't verify, and so Doctor Who magazine, thankfully somebody out there has already cataloged all the stuff that's been published and put it in one spot for us to find. Thank you to the folks at Wikipedia for doing that. And that's basically how it works. And now with AI coming into it, and they're getting all this information as well, the chat GBTs of the world, it's easier to say, okay, yes, there's been the rumors that have been published include, Marco Polo and the 10th Planet Part 4 and parts 1 and 2 of the Space Pirates or something like that was out there. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever confirmed it. There's been no further news about that. And there was, and this goes along with Doctor Who magazine's endless, this is coming out, and then it never comes out. So they're not their fault. They got the press release, or this is official news. We got this news. And now, of course, with the 24-hour, internet bomb news that, when I got it on Google News that the episodes were found. I was like, whoa, okay. This is great news.
I saw a BBC TV article about it, and I was like, what? No, and then
Radio Times came up with it,
right? And then I was like, oh, Richard Bignell shared this. That guy doesn't joke around, so I believe this.
And I know because I don't believe everything that is posted on the Ian Levine account. That's. Because that's not controlled by him necessarily. And I can't believe Ian Levine sat down for a Mythmakers. Keith Barnfather was just over the moon that he sat down for that. And he's an important guy. I won't say this. He's a very important guy.
Regardless of his words on the internet and behavior sometimes, he has contributed a lot to the show and its history.
Yes, he has.
So his telling his tale has validity. So I'm not, you can make a stink, but it's like he existed. There is stuff because of him. Yes, he acts like we should kneel before him every morning because he got us some episodes back. But
I face South by Southwest every morning.
Right. I will say for the people, like the facts of the matter of where we are at now with missing episodes, what's left is Film is Fabulous. They have said, in addition to what we just got back, they are aware of multiple episodes across multiple collections. And then Paul Vanesis, in addition to them, has said, he told Steven Shapansky, which he told him at the time, he told him backstage at Gallifrey 1, but Steven has since said it on his show, so I will share it here because he said it publicly, but he told me he knows of 2 episodes that are not from the same story, but he called them inconsequential. But every missing episode's
consequential to me.
It's consequential, absolutely. Yeah. So I think maybe he means like a companion doesn't exit it's not 10th Planet 4. It's not First Jamie. It's not. It's just
not the Grail episodes.
Yeah. So something like, and Steve and I were talking. We're like, it's like Toymaker 3. That something like that.
Toymaker 3 would be cool.
Well, it would be cool. it'd be cool, but I guess saying what happens in there. But so there's that, and then he's also said there was a collector that he knew of, but he had that guy on the Gallifrey base likes to talk about this guy's. He's got bigger fish to fry collector but he has episodes, but they weren't able to talk about them. But the guy said he had bigger fish to fry at this time. Oh, and those are the hard-lined ones. And there's also the rumor that there were 2 episodes of Marco Polo in Iran.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to guess those might not be in good shape anymore.
I think we just bombed them, actually.
Yeah. I'm going to guess those aren't in good shape.
We've got them. Oh, no.
Oh, jeez.
I know they were supposed to mail this out months ago to the BBC. What are you doing?
We know they were sent to Iran. They were sent to Iraq. They were sent to Saudi Arabia. They were dubbed into Arabic, and they were sent to Nigeria, of all places, where they found a whole bunch that were on the shelf. Like, hey, look, Doctor Who. That kind of thing. And Hong Kong, of course, was a BBC outlet back in the day when they were part of the United Kingdom. So that makes sense. One of the big quotes here, and this is an anonymous quote, but as long as there are archives and collectors, there's hope.
Yes.
And that's a big one. Large scale finds are probably unlikely, but not impossible. There, will we get more recoveries? We might get a couple here and there, one or two, like you said, piecemeal episodes, like stuff that's already been animated, and we get the real deal.
That's what we need to have back, is one that's already been animated, because we've had reconstruction from loose cannon comparisons, but we've never had, we already animated this? Did we get it? Or
because Fraser Hines told me that when Makra Terror came out, he said the animation was really good, but you should have seen the thing that they made in the real episode, because I said, I wish I could. Of course, that whole story is lost, but I think it'd be cool to see an original.
That's one. That's high up there for me. Yeah, that's a fun story. I would like to see.
I also want to see the marching band at the end. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, come on, we need that sequence back.
Yeah, I just it and that, and I also know too, just from other sources, and we have this all on various DVD extras and that several news footage companies returned, like parts of Power of the Daleks, including the opening scene, the Dalek production line, and things like that. And then there were censor cuts that were found, that kind of put together this hodgepodge of Doctor Who clips. And I know it's out there. I think it may be on Lost in Time actually as a bonus feature. There's they dubbed in the sound to these. These were all silent, but they put sound back into them, and they were able to kind of create Troughton's opening moments in Power of the Daleks. And of course, we have the regeneration sequence from 10th Planet 4, which was also part of a news feature that was done. So there is hope that, and this is a completely different subject, but there is a guy now going through news footage in Los Angeles. They're trying to put together every Beatle appearance, like you mentioned, the Lost Beatles, because the Beatles said they did. Paul McCartney is doing his best to talk about everything he can before he can't anymore, and so he said they did a whole bunch of news studio things, and so they're going back to these old studios, and they say, oh yeah, we've got this film, and they're going through it, and they found Beatles segments. They're going to put it all on one giant Blu-ray of every time they performed anywhere, and it'd be the biggest collection of performances by any group. But people are going, well, that means other groups did that, or other people did that. And who knows what they're going to find on these news recordings. I wish I still had the tape of, I don't have it anymore. This tape got lost years ago, but Tom Baker walking into CBS studios and completely zinging the interviewer after the interviewer said, I didn't know who you were, but people who saw you walk in thought it was Paul Newman or something had walked in the door. And Tom Baker goes, well, people who invent, I mean, write the news. And just zinged him, and I thought, oh, I wish I still had that, but no, alas, no more. But so last question here, as we're coming up to the hour here. Just some quick stats here. 253 episodes were made of Doctor Who from the 60s. 156 exist. We still have 97 missing. I'm just taking a guess, at the end of 2026, I would like to see that number get down to like 94.
Well, it's 95 now.
It is. Oh, excuse me, 95.
I believe the two Daleks brought it down to 95. That brings it down.
95. You're right. Correct. My information is old. 95. I'd like to get that down. Then I changed my number. I'd like to get that down to like 92. Get three more. So any guesses here where we might be? And I know there's a prediction market out here who can actually bet on this.
I know the odds seem quite high that at least by the end of 2027 we'll probably see another return. So
it's possible.
I think it's possible. Someone asked Paul Venices on Twitter, like, "Hey, in the next 1 to 2 years, we're gonna be doing this again, 1 to 10," and he was like 11. Like, so he's pretty confident. I think it's just a matter of being patient. Let Film Fabulous do what they're doing. They are very transparent with everything they're doing. They word it. They answer questions. They're not tongue-tying things and playing. People got too used to Philip Morris. He liked to riddle and hold information. That's not what they do. They are very matter of fact. This is what we can tell you. This is it. Let them do their thing. When they have something, they'll tell you. If they don't have something, they're not going to tell you. And they're not going to say what the episodes are, because that can give people's identities away. That can also,
it could cause a problem. Yeah, absolutely.
It could cause a problem. Yeah. I always, like back in October when we heard like there was a confirmed one, and I'm like, why can't they? I would rest so much easier if I just knew the title. Like I don't even have to see it yet.
Yeah.
I just need to know the title.
Tell me it was The Nightmare Begins. You know, that would have been great. You know, and
that would have been great.
and Devil's Planet was a bonus. You know, absolutely. You know, just
has the traders gone up for you guys in wanting it back just so you can have a 5-episode run?
Yeah,
seamless of it, because I'm like now I want the traders back in full. Like we have the last moments of Katarina, and then we have a little bit of Brett Vion's demise because it's at the beginning of the next episode. So we have like you know, a minute and a half of that episode, but yeah, now the traders has gone like way up in seeing this whole story complete is now. I liked it before, but I was just like, oh, we can get some of this. Is such a
the YouTube loose cannons of those. The view rates have gone way up. And it's been because I watched it the other day because I went back and watched it again.
Right.
And then I came back today and I saw that the view count had gone up by 3,000. So it's definitely got people focused. This whole thing has got people focused on the Dalek Master Plan. Copies of the target books for The Mutation of Time and Mission to the Unknown have gone way up in value in just a couple of weeks that this has happened here. So you'll find those copies now going for up to $50 a copy on eBay if you don't have one. So it's and of course I've still got the old Dalek Master Plan that was done by one of the Australian writers or New Zealand writers.
Oh yeah.
So I've got that in the collection too. I've had that. I bought it at Larry's comic book store in Chicago. So way back in the day. But anyway, final thoughts here. Eludis.
It's just very exciting to nerd out on something like this, and even looking at it outside of Doctor Who, the fact that there's so many other lost shows that can benefit from this. I think Film is Fabulous, for example. While Doctor Who is not a focus for them, which is understandable, it is a benefit to them. It brings more light shed on them. I'm sure this has got to help with donations to get them more funding to do what they want to do. And I think with that, that's going to start getting more collectors that have stuff, maybe starting to become more aware of what they have, to look at them, and even to be, again, likely to go, you know what? Let me talk to them and let's see what I can do about getting these back out there. So very excited to see that, and it's just fantastic to be able to see some of this stuff that we only were able to imagine. I mean, you know, for years you'd imagine what was Enemy of the World like, and only having the Target book. And finally seeing on the screen, and while some people said they didn't like it as much as they were hoping to, or at least I think that was more for Tomb of the Cybermen, they felt let down. First time I saw it, and still watch it numerous times, absolutely love it. And to me, because I just try to put my mindset of when it was made,
right,
and to understand what I'm looking at versus comparing it to what's happening today. But this is just fantastic, and I hope that means it's going to cause more people to be willing to communicate what they have and share with one another. And one final thing I would say with the Dalek Master Plan, watching that loose cannon of Katarina's death, I'm really curious to see the traders found now, just because seeing her floating in space just shocked me.
Yeah.
If you see, you look at that going, did they really do that? You know, they talk about all this stuff like during Tom Baker's era with Barry Whitehouse and how violent it was and stuff. And I'm thinking they
pretty violent.
Really had her.
This is worse than getting your head dunked underwater.
Yeah. I need to see this. I need to see if they really truly did this, and how did they show this? I mean, definitely curious to see, because what we do get found sometimes is even better than what we imagined.
I agree.
So really excited to hopefully find more of these in the next couple of years.
Great. Brandon, final thoughts?
Yeah, I continue to be amazed that, like, classic Doctor Who, and I love the modern series as well. I'm not like but classic Doctor Who hasn't had a new episode since 1989, but continues to find ways to be exciting, new, fresh, whether it's the animations, the Blu-ray collection sets, new featurettes, or finding missing episodes. I don't know of any other show that can continue to deliver the amount of excitement like classic Doctor Who has. Like, I've never in my life. I'm a fan of other things as well. Not as hardcore as Doctor Who, but like, it's just wow. Like this old series can be fresh again every couple years, every 6 months, and this is the peak of that, because we all want these missing episodes, and the fact that we look like we're on a trajectory to have more of this in the next couple years is just this, along with the Blu-ray box sets, more animations, merch, Big Finish audios. It's incredible, and the passion from those involved with it to continue to support it and be ambassadors for it is unlike anything else, because a lot of people walk away. Someone like Colin Baker on another show might have never come back. I mean, we're seeing what Eccleston feels like with things, but he's warming. But yeah, I'm just constantly amazed at the classic era of Doctor Who, and love it. And just these were a gift. And I'm, while we were like, what's next? I'm going to sit and watch them 20 more times each soon, because I'm just like, I was working out on a rowing machine the other day. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch Nightmare Begins while I'm doing this. Just find more. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's truly amazing when I can sit down and watch a Doctor Who story I've never seen before.
Yeah.
At my age, and I've been watching the show since 1975. That still gives me just absolute energy, and of course I did this right before going to bed, so my head was spinning most of the night trying to get my head around these stories and remembering the Vaga plants and all the stuff that I learned about this story and read the book and of course I focused on that was Nicholas Courtney's first Doctor Who appearance. And we have it now. I was so excited. There's just little things about that, and of course, just the idea that I didn't have to wait for a PAL copy to come to me. I didn't have to wait to download it illegally from the Pirate Bay.
Right.
I got it from YouTube, and I thought this is the new BBC. Let's do this. And it reminded me a lot of the Tomb of the Cybermen. Let's say, okay, we got it. Let's get it out on VHS right away. And it came out very quickly. And that's how they need to proceed and just get it out there. And by the way, thank you to all the other Doctor Who podcasts out there. If you're listening to this show, I've listened to your shows, so you should listen to mine. For talking about this and keeping this going, and the feed spot emails that every day it's about the Dalek Master Plan. It's been amazing. But ladies and gentlemen out there, my guests today were Mr. Brandon Peters and Mr. Eluides Pagan. So Brandon, if you wouldn't mind telling everybody where they can find your show and where you are.
Yeah, I'm on social media at Brandon4KUHD. I have a podcast called The Brandon Peters Show, which I do produce some Doctor Who episodes here and there. I can't help myself because I love it so much. It's a film-based podcast. We go Doctor Who a lot, where you can find my coverage for Doctoberfest every year. And stuff like that. Right now, I'm going through 60s Batman, which Larry has graced the show with to talk about. We're about wrapping up season 1. Larry will return.
Yes.
And I'm getting ready for my Summer of 86 at 40 series, which is this is the 5th year we've been doing. Scott Mendelson, Aaron Neuwirth, and I are doing, which is a pop culture journey through the summer of 1986. The mission statement is, what was life like when someone was going to see Top Gun that weekend in the theater? Because it's not just the movies.
I saw it in the theater that summer.
There you go. So
I was a junior in high school in '86. So yeah,
we talked the movies, we talk the news, we talk the top 10 television shows, and we talk the top 10 songs on the radio at the time.
I can't wait for that show, because '86 was a great year for me. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And Eluides, any place people can find you if you want to be found?
I just seem to be popping up everywhere in different little places. I don't know, real-time pictures maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Which has been kind of cool. But no, I mean, you'll just see me around online, Facebook, a lot of the Doctor Who groups. I'm hoping sometime the next year to get a podcast running of my own.
I know you've talked about that. Yeah.
From the book I was originally working on to realizing, okay, this isn't going to work the way I was hoping. In fact, it would work better this way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of morphing into becoming a podcast instead. And then, of course, has been mentioned before, I have try to do an annual auction for Charity Unite for Lily.
Yes.
That means a lot to me, and it is of Doctor Who items.
Yeah.
So, so very soon, I finally started pulling everything that's going to go into an upcoming auction, and there might happen to be 2 Dalek Target books I have that people might be very interested in.
Could it be the mutation
I don't know,
of time?
there's some kind of plan in place for those 2 books to be put into the auction. So just might want to keep your eye out for that. But anyway, you'll just find me everywhere, I guess.
I don't know if you've seen this one here. This is the collection that includes The Mutation of Time and Mission of the Unknown, which is read by Peter Purves and Gene Marsh with Nicholas Briggs. So it's the best way to it's really good. It's really good if you can still find it out there. I keep a copy handy. Anyway, thank you for joining us today on the show, and my listeners, please stay tuned.
There is no plot. I am being completely honest with you.
Mine, I believe. Thank you.
Where have they gone?
They've been taken back to the wilderness. The place is different, but the hunt goes on. You know all about the hunt, don't you, Ace?
I felt like I could run forever. Like I could smell the wind and feel the grass under my feet and just run forever.
The planet's gone, but it lives on inside you. It always will.
Good. And the master?
Who knows? Where to now, Ace?
Home.
Home?
The TARDIS.
Yes, the TARDIS. There are worlds out there where the sky is burning, where the seas sleep and the rivers dream. People made of smoke and cities made of song. Some of there's danger, some of there's injustice, and somewhere else the tea's getting cold. Come on, Ace, we've got work to do.
As we continue our 100th episode celebration, I normally at this time would talk to you about a outrageous offer. We've done a lot of those, over 90, and it was kind of something that came as a popular item for this show. Well, I want to change gears just a little bit just for this episode, because at the timing, it took a long time for this episode to come out. And since the time we did the main story, which was back in April, when things were fresh, and then of course a lot of things started happening outside of my podcast world that kind of put my schedule on, some other things have happened. So I've got something to prepare here. So, of course, over the past year, rumors and speculation have spread across social media and fan communities about the future of the long-running show Doctor Who. Falling ratings, mixed reactions to recent episodes, and uncertainty surrounding future production plans have led fans to wonder, is the show facing another major hiatus? Now, for longtime Whovians, we've been here before. I've played this game before. In the late 80s, Doctor Who was struggling. Although the show had been a staple of television since '63, audiences were changing and television was becoming more competitive. The BBC began to question whether the series still fit. In '85, the show was temporarily suspended. It was put on hiatus, which led to a massive fan campaign to save the show, including a theme song, which I'm going to end the podcast with. While it returned, the damage had been done, budgets were cut, production challenges continued. It went to 14 episodes when it came back. That was the trial of the Time Lord and the firing of Colin Baker. Then came 1989. The final classic episode, Survival, aired in December of '89, and at that time, the BBC never officially announced that it had been canceled. Instead, the show just wasn't renewed. The result was the same. It disappeared. And we entered the wilderness years. You've heard many podcasts on that. We've talked about it a little bit here. And right now, the Doctor Who Target Book Club is exploring the wilderness years as well. That might go on. This period lasted 16 years, by the way. It's a long time. Not quite as long as, let's say, Moses in the desert. That was 40 years, but 16 years was a long time. During that time, we kept it alive. Novels, audio dramas, conventions, fan productions. There was even that false start in 1996. We're hitting that anniversary this year of the Doctor Who movie, which I really loved. And I thought, here we go. It's back. And we still had to wait a little bit. And then after that, it failed. We kind of thought it was gone for good. But then something remarkable happened. It was in 2005, under the leadership of Russell T Davies, Doctor Who returned. And it called A Relic of Television History became one of the most successful revivals ever. New generations of fans. Now, starting with New Who and going back to the old Who. And the show became a global phenomenon. So what about today? What's happening? Despite the rumors, the official word is that it has not been canceled. However, discussions about ratings, audience engagements, and the show's creative direction, they're the same exact things that came up in the middle of the 80s. I was a sophomore in high school when this happened the first time. I'm well into my 50s now. Since the Doctor Who, the difference is that Doctor Who exists in many different media landscapes that didn't exist back then. So success is no longer measured solely by television ratings. Streaming numbers, international audiences, social media engagement, and licensing deals all played major roles here. Even if the current era were to end, history suggests Doctor Who is very resilient. It's not over. It'll keep going in some fashion. Big Finish has their license for many more years, possibly longer than that. It is Doctor's greatest superpower. Its greatest superpower is not time travel. It's absolute survival, which is kind of iconic that was the final episode of the original series, survival. The series will continue uninterrupted, or eventually takes another break. I don't know. We've been here before, so Doctor Who will come back in some form. So, well, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed my 100th episode. Longer than usual, but be sure to subscribe. Share it with your fellow Whovians. Let us know your thoughts. Is Doctor Who facing another 1889 moment, or is it just simply preparing for another regeneration? In fact, one thing we didn't get in 2005 was a regeneration sequence that was back kind of done later and explained in a different way. So time can always be rewritten, but I want to close the podcast with a complete recording of the 1985 Doctor in Distress, which features, by the way, the vocal talents of Colin Baker, Anthony Ainley, and Nicholas Courtney. And I have the LP that came with this. It was a lot of, I guess the Moody Blues are on this and some other folks. It was kind of the Live Aid or We Are the World, so to speak, for Doctor Who. So with that, will there be another episode of this podcast? Yes, episode 101 will be happening soon. We're talking to a few people right now and going to get some folks lined up for the future of this show. Now, the show will not come out on a regular basis. I think I know I talked about this on my TikTok channel, but I've gone through a job change, not involuntary. It was voluntary. I'm working closer to home, which is good. It means I will have more time to spend. And then, of course, every year I evaluate whether or not I want to keep going. But everybody tells me, yes, keep going. And this show will continue. I'm not going to go hiatus. Anyway, you'll find me also on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. You'll see me on my TikTok channel. Make sure you check that out, Doctor Who Collectors Podcast. We're going to start posting our videos on YouTube from the interviews, because our Patreon site is probably going to disappear. We had a hacking issue and we lost $700 on that platform. So we live and learn. But anyway, thanks for listening, and thank you for helping me celebrate 100 episodes of this podcast. So, without further ado, here is Doctor in Distress. And until next time, keep collecting.
try to exterminate inside each of the casings. Why the bubbling of the pain? We met cybernetic humans with no feelings at all. Warriors of the ice, whispered over 7 feet tall. Doctor in distress, let's all answer his SOS. Doctor in distress, bring him back now, we won't take less. Bring him back now, we won't take less. If we stop his travels, he'll be in a mess. The galaxy will fall together once more. The nightmares monsters fighting a war. Doctor in distress, bring him back now, we won't take less. No, 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 no. We've learned to accept 6 doctors with companions at their side. When they were faced with danger, they didn't run, they didn't hide.
The brigadier and a master and a canine computer.
Each screaming girl just heard that a Yeti wouldn't shoot her. Doctor in distress, let's all answer his SOS. Doctor in distress, bring him back now, we won't take less. Doctor in distress, let's all answer his SOS. Doctor in distress, bring him back now, we won't take less.
Direction point! Direction point!
A Doctor Who podcast network.